Hello, my name is Carla Arguelles, and I am making this video more so for myself, just to have in my own personal YouTube video archive, and it is because I don't want to forget some amazing warm-ups that I learned at Heather Orr's TMEA session this year called There's No Place Like Tone. She's obviously a very accomplished high school choir director in Texas, and not only does her choir get amazing results every year, but she also just seems like such a fun person to be around. So I love these warm-ups because a lot of them, they involve breathing exercises, SOVTs, eurythmics, and focus on resonance, but also because a lot of them are on E, O, U vowels, which are more forward and resonant. And I feel like in the choir ensemble world, a lot of our warm-ups are always on ah and eh, which for me personally, I kind of have never enjoyed. And I feel like I sound my most clear and my most resonant on those more forward vowels. So I love that, you know, she warms up on those vowels. The first warm-up is more like a breathing exercise and kind of to engage that support. So it's going to be breathe in 4 counts, out, huff out 4 counts, and then into a tongue trill for 4 counts. That tongue trill can be on any note, but I'm going to choose concert F. So this is how it'll go. 1, 2, ready. Yes, and once again, you can extend that tongue trill for 8, 12, 16, even 20 counts. So this next one is going to be yo. I'm just gonna say the solfege, so for my future self, I know what notes it's supposed to be on. But it's so, mi, so, fa, mi, re, do, yo. And we are using yo and E-O, E-O, E. So this is what it'll sound like. Yo, yo, E-O, E-O, E. That's not that piano, but and so the physical motion for this one, she says, is throwing a soccer ball above your head. And I love that she uses this, and the reason why is because when you see a soccer player throwing a soccer ball, they never throw it down. You know, they're trying to get it far and out, so they do this. And I love this because with other types of sports balls, like whether it's a football or a baseball, there's usually kind of like a motion that people will just go down. And a basketball is pretty good as well, and that, like, you know, you also go straight out, but it is down here. And I think she's trying to bring the focus up here in the head. And she also encourages us to take a step forward as we do it. So in total, this is what it'll look like. Yo, 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 wee, bum, bum, yo, 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 wee, and so on. See, this next one is D, 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 O. Okay, so it'll start on so, fa, mi, ti, do. So this one is going to be staccato, and it is on the plosive consonant of D. So we're going to be saying D, 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 O. So D, 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 O. Sorry for messing up that piano, but, and the visual or the motion for this one is going to be Frankenstein head screw twists. So if you ever see Frankenstein, he has these screws that stick out of his head. So you're going to kind of like turn them every single time you sing a note. Once again, it's going to be staccato. So D, 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 O. And a reason why I love this warm-up so much is because it is on a plosive consonant. I feel like that helps in a lot of different ways and for onsets. But I feel like you could also switch it out for t, p, f, k, or I feel like you could even combine all of them. D, T, K, P, O. So I feel like there's just a lot of wiggle room there. This next one is going to be on solfege. It'll be so, fa, mi, re, do. And this one's going to be on a hungy ah. So this one I feel like also helps with phonation and just onsets. So the first one's gonna be like that NG, hungry. And one purpose of this warm-up is you want it to be all connected. Hungry. Oh. This one, the physical motion of it is going to be like, the hung is going to be like you're wringing out a shirt. I personally like doing it up here because the rest of them are going to be up here. So Hung, the E is gonna be like devil horns, E, almost a little ugly, E, and the ah is gonna be that soccer ball we talked about from earlier. So in total, it'll look like, hungy, oh, bum bum, hungy, oh, and so on. And that is pretty much all the warm-ups I wrote down and took notes of from this session. So future Carla, I hope you use these in your classroom. I think they're really awesome, and in a room full of like 500 plus people that were listening in on Heather Orr's session, they worked super well and a lot of us really loved them. So yes, please use it. Okay, other things she said in her session that were not warm-ups, but I just love and I want to carry with me into being an educator, is first one, instead of saying sit down, she says sit up with her choirs. And what she means by this is whenever your choir is standing and you tell them to sit down, they kind of take that as their cue to just like slump back, cross their legs, and just have terrible singing posture. So I was really surprised to see how well this worked with the group that was attending her session. So when she told us to sit up, obviously our butts were in the chair, but it reminds you to kind of keep your posture good from the waist up so that you can still sing effectively even if you're sitting down. And she also said it's very important to have your choir move around, and not only that, but like give them chances to sit down. Sometimes people forget that, especially early educators. They sometimes just have them stand the entire rehearsal. Remember to give them sitting breaks. It's also not good for them to just be standing or sitting or just staying in one position for a long time, period. Another thing that I loved that she talked about was that you are the voice teacher. Not all schools have the privilege of hiring voice lesson teachers for their students, but the ones that do, a lot of choir directors will just say, oh, they'll work on technique in their voice lessons. But realistically, your kids only see their voice teachers for 30 minutes a week, maybe max an hour a week, whereas they see you almost every day, or they see you for multiple hours a week. And so you have to work on technique in the classroom and you have to incorporate it into your warm-ups. Because also not all of your kids are going to be in voice lessons, so you have to work on technique and you are the voice teacher. Another thing that I really liked was a quote she said, your choirs will be the best they can be when you focus on the kids that are not born with it. And so some backstory to this, she had like a meme up that said maybe she's born with it, maybe it's technique. So kind of like a play on the maybe she's born with it, maybe it's Maybelline, but instead like maybe it's technique. So a lot of choir directors tend to focus on the 5 really good kids that they have, you know, maybe the ones that like have the most potential of being an all-stater, and things like that. But if you only focus on those 5 really good kids, you're gonna have 5 really good kids, and that's about it. Whereas if you focus on all the ones that were not just born with it, born with that natural talent, if you know, help them with technique and whatnot, you'll have a group of fantastic singers, not just 5 really, really good ones. And so, and in turn, she is that type of choir director that she always has like 10 all-staters at least every single year, and even more. And so I really love that, because I think it's easier said than done of like, oh, of course we'll pay attention to our students, but I think when you're actually in the educator position, it's really easy to not remember that and like throw it out the window, because obviously you want to focus on the really good kids that you have that have so much potential, and that, you know, they care, but you really have to look at the bigger picture. You want a good choir, not a good quintet, quartet, whatever, or a good soloist. Make people sing as loud as they can. So yes, a lot of times when people are first teaching music, they kind of want people to do it at dynamics already, whereas she thinks it's important that like if you're just learning the parts or doing warm-ups, it's important that you do it super loud, because you know, people who usually are like, oh, it's really quiet, I don't want to sing, like they'll just kind of embrace it, and that's how you know they can do it. If everyone is just singing loud, and especially when you're learning parts, it makes people feel more okay with just, you know, singing the pitches, just trying to learn it even if they're wrong, because no one's trying to sing all the way here at piano when it's day 1 of learning a piece, you know. And she was saying, are they gonna be sharp? Yes. Like if they're over singing, they're gonna be sharp, but is that better than singing flat when you're trying to be too quiet? Yes. And you can always fix sharp or have them bring it down, but it's much harder to fix flat. And also people's energy will be up if you're singing loud. Like it's gonna cause people's energies to also be higher. And that's pretty much all I got from or took notes of during her session, but I really enjoyed it and I really did not want to forget it, so I made this video. So future Carla, I hope you take all this into consideration and hope that you use this in your classroom.